As we set everyone up, I just want to give another big round of applause for Rupa Dash, CEO of World Woman Foundation. True example of a woman who, dreams, does it, and I've been following her on a journey for 5 years, and anytime she sets her mind to something, she just goes ahead and does it. And she's a remarkable woman, and I joined her on the stage first time at the Cannes Film Festival. We were at the Lions last year, and we're here to celebrate film. And this first session is going to do just that, and focusing on equality within direction of film. So we're missing a panelist here. We have RUSUDAN. Oh, hello. And I do just want to say, please feel free to follow us and tag us on social media, World Woman Fund. Be happy to feature your stories. Come in.
I should go there?
No, you can sit there. We can move the chairs around. We can just be flexible. And we'll say, really in a world where stories are reshaping how we understand identity, nationhood, and womanhood, there are women in this room who are really rewriting the cinematic script and advocating for their stories to be told along the way. And while there has been incremental gains that we know in certain areas over gender parity in film, we are not quite there yet. So, for example, in Europe alone, women account for 30% of the documentary filmmaking, which is phenomenal, but compared to 21% of live-action films. So we still have quite a big gap to fill there. And I'm happy to have some of these remarkable women on the stage with me today who are part of telling those stories, along with the media companies who are advocating and helping to really transcend and cascade their stories. So with the bold perspectives grounded in a unique heritage, RUSUDAN and ANCA in particular have made films that expose post-war trauma, diasporic existence, and really collective memory in their homeland, while also challenging who gets to hold the camera and why, and challenging a lot of those societal and cultural norms. So this Cannes session in particular explores the session of what it means not for women to just direct the films, but to lead and direct us towards a more equal future for all. So I would like to just really quickly introduce the panelists, starting with RUSUDAN GLURJIDZE. I'm sorry, we're going to struggle with our different accents here. Yeah. So she's an acclaimed Georgian film director and screenwriter. Her internationally awarded film, House of Others, poetically examines war, exile, and emotional aftermath, a real personal story for her. And then we have ANCA MIRUNA LăZăRescu, sorry. Who is a Romanian German film director and screenwriter whose gripping narratives, including That Trip We Took with Dad and We Are the Wave, explore post-communist history, belonging, and youth-led transformation. And then we have Dr. ANNABELLA BASSLER, who is the Chief Financial Officer of Ringier Media Group and initiator of the EqualVoice initiative. She's a visionary leader in media equity, and she advocates for measurable change in how and how often women are seen and heard through the EqualVoice initiative. So let's just jump into questions. Welcome, ladies. So I'm going to start with you, ANCA and RUSUDAN, and I think you both really challenge dominant narratives as it relates to resistance and risk. And I would love if you could talk about, have you ever faced any censorship, pressure, pushback for the stories that you've told? And RUSUDAN, I'm looking at you in particular because I know you've had some interferences in some countries where you were filming, specifically dealing with production. So would you like to share your experience?
First of all, thank you to invite me here. It's a great honor and pleasure to share my experience with you. And I'm really very happy that in Georgia now women filmmakers and women directors are more like strong and successful. And men now are in minority.
Love to hear it.
Yes, it's a very particular case. Regarding our stories, we always speak about our own experience, and our inspiration is our life and our childhood. And regarding difficulties and censorship, I just had a very bad experience with my last film, which had like very strong political message. And what is very strange that my second film, The Antique, which was a part of Venice Film Festival, Giornate degli Autori, was censored in Venice. So I was in middle of Europe, and I was under censorship. So it happens, but it made us stronger. So it was very strange and very tough experience, but it made me much more stronger, and now I can fight even more. And you became not just woman filmmaker, woman director, but you became like fighter. So I can share my experience with other young directors, and I can help them how to overcome these difficulties. So, and
Anca, do you have any similar experiences or things you want to build on?
Well, I think that censorship starts way earlier. It starts in the script. It starts when you sign for the project. And of course, what happened? No. I was. We got the questions before,
okay.
and I was thinking who will answer what. And I was thinking about two stories that I wanted to share here with you. The first one was me preparing like for 7 years for my first feature film. It was that trip we took with Dad, and it was one strong image I always had in my mind because I grew up with this story. It was 1968. The Russian tanks entered in Czechoslovakia, and my Romanian family, who seemed to be there during the holidays in August, they did see this image, and they did see this endless line of Russian tanks entering Czechoslovakia and ending the big dream of liberation and the socialism with a human face. So my father told me again and again about this image, how his whole family was divided through these tanks, because my grandmother was on one side and the other part of the family was on the other side, and the tanks kept on rolling like for more than 20 minutes. And when I realized that I really, really want to do this story as my first feature film, I always said I will never shoot this film without tanks. And censorship began there because a lot of very important men producers told me, well, it won't be possible. We won't get tanks for you. And I said, well, but I want tanks because I need tanks, because this story can only be told through the violation of everything that was so sacred by then, and it ended with just, well, the Russian tanks. And I'm very proud to say that I'm the only European film director who managed to get 10 Russian tanks right before. You know what? I think this applause never would have happened in a mailroom. So thank you so much for being here and appreciating this with me. So I was fighting, and I really had at the end the Romanian army who still had these old tanks, and I was there in my first feature film directing 10 Russian tanks and fulfilling probably the biggest dream of my father, of the liberation of the occupation of a very good and strong idea, which was the socialism.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you for telling your story. Beautiful. While we're on the theme of like telling those personal stories through film, I just want to go back to you, RUSUDAN, because both of you really explore the themes of home and shaped by exile and historical trauma. That's a real personal narrative for you. So how do you translate that memory into cinematic language?
Like memory, it's like water, you know, and it's very easy. You just you should be very honest, and you should like express yourself, And like memory is a part of us. And it's a treasure, and it's really something which you should share with somebody. And I guess as much the story is your personal, it's more interesting for international people. Like it's very personal and very unique. So I really don't need some special translation. I just try to express myself.
That's the way that you do it. And you know, I'm going to turn over to you, Dr. Annabella, and ask you about, from the perspective of the media and entertainment industry, visibility often translates to power. And so what have you learned through your work of the Equal Voice Initiative, and you know, what it takes to make women truly seen and heard, either you know, behind the film or in the boardroom?
You are so right. In media, visibility equals power. And if the visibility is not given, then we have a problem. And currently, we do have a big problem. I don't know if you all are aware, but when we started Equal Voice, the media representation of men was 82%. So 18% left over for women. And why is it so important? I don't know if you are all aware, but if we don't play any role in media, where will we be seen? And I guess all of you know this saying, seeing is believing. What you can't see, you can't be. So I'm totally convinced that it's so important that everybody can be seen and can be heard. And that's why we initiated Equal Voice more than 5 years ago. And by now, we reach 50 million users in 7 countries with 32 publications. So we are really happy that a little initiative became a movement. And what is the big differentiation to other programs? Equal Voice, it's all about measuring. It's about measuring to get the data. As you were saying, I'm a CFO, so you can imagine how much I love facts and figures, right? So I thought we need to make this whole discussion as rationally as we possibly can. And we noticed, we called it Equal Voice, not female voice, because I'm totally with Marianne. It's about all the inclusion, and it's not a war, but it's like the dialogue that we have to do together.
Yes, allyship is incredibly important, and measuring that impact along the way is going to be critical. So we thank you for your service and support in that area internationally as well. So let's talk a little bit about how does being a woman shape your choices as a director, and not just in the story selection, but how you run a set or manage your power dynamics with other men and women that you film with?
I guess to be women director, it's a privilege. I mean, in Georgia, really. I feel very comfortable, and like everybody helped me, like producers, and about selection of the story, I don't see like difference of women's story, or it should be just a strong story. And of course, a story from women perspective is stronger, because we have more strong feeling, I don't know, of something, I don't know, something, we feel stronger than men's.
You think
and
the
we
emotion
have,
pulls through
yeah,
more?
Yeah. And we have like different perspective and different vision of events. More emotional, more deep, more precise, I can tell you, maybe more intimate. So it's our bonus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm totally sure of it.
You have anything to add, Anca?
I've been sharing with you a story of success, the tanks, and I will be sharing now a story of failure, which still hurts. It's a series that I've been asked to direct, and there was a very emotional scene with the main character, and well, it was a rape scene, or actually it was the post-traumatic rape scene where she comes home and she has to react. Up until there she was very strong, and then she's alone for the first time, and it's even more. There's a wedding dress, and she was raped by the fiancé. So we took a lot of time preparing the scene, and I remember that we had the producers on set, and they were kind of irritated why she doesn't cry, why she doesn't, just lay down and cry bitterly. And I was explaining them that I think that's not, well, we both have been, let's say, having the luxury to not having to face such a difficult situation, but we were both the female actors and me, were very interested to say something what we think is very close, and this was much more rage. So what she did in the scene was to rip off this wedding suit of her, the dress. And the producers were very irritated why it's so full of rage. And for me, this was the only right reaction before, of course, we see the tears. And before we double let the antagonist win, I wanted to show something more, with facette. Well, the failure is that in the end, of course, the scene got edited by her lying down and crying. And long before the scene was edited, I stepped out of this project exactly because of those examples, because this was one of many examples. But yeah, I'm still thinking, how exactly can you avoid situations like this, and how can you stay strong? Because I think female voice in cinema is like so important, and so at least valuable as it is to hear a man.
Wow. I mean, just to follow up on that and going through that experience, I imagine here in Cannes there are a lot of young, female emerging film directors, or young girls that are aspiring to become a film director. And I'd love to know what advice you would give to them that you think is most critical and important for them in the industry.
My advice will be never think that you should compare your work with male directing. And you are very strong, you are stronger, much stronger, and just be honest. Just try to go under all layers and to find this unique point of women vision, and then everything will be fine. This will be treasure, and it will be really very important work. So, and never think about equity.
Because it never comes.
It never comes.
I think Dr. Annabelle would disagree. She's measuring it. How about you, Anca, for young female aspiring film directors?
Pick up your fights wisely. Know exactly with whom you're working and who you sign with. Do it with love. If you lose the love for what you're doing, and there was a moment where I started to leave the love that I had for this project when I finally found out that my voice was not needed, or they didn't want my voice, they wanted just my name so that they get financed. It was the wrong fight. So I should have been stepping back, exactly what I did. Search for help, never stay alone, never. There are enough people who will help you gladly if you ask, and if you exactly offer them the love and the help you also need. And do networking. Women always love to help each other. It's not true that we're envying each other. We're so strong. We have such a strong voice, but we will never manage to stay alone. They don't stay alone. And I hate to say it, they, the man, and us, the woman. They never stay alone. They're always together. So why are we not embracing each other? Because we have so much to give it to each other.
So solidarity, I mean. Yeah.
Women are just as strong as the tribe that stands behind them, yes. Annabella, creative question here. If you could launch a global visibility campaign to close the gender gap in media, no budget limits, full editorial control, what story would you tell, and which platform or partner would you choose to amplify it worldwide?
Well, we are here in Cannes, right? So I would love to have like a really cinematic movement about who gets seen. Because I think we need a big movement that all the women are being seen. All those great women that create an impact. And I don't know if all of you are aware, but all of you are role models. And I think it's so important that we see those women that have this great impact, no matter what they do. And I always say, let's try that we all can be the role models we would have loved when we were children to see this. And partners, I would love to have Netflix meets TED meets UNESCO. So I'm reaching out for the big. But yeah, let's give it a try.
Fingers crossed for Annabella. Love that. Okay, I love these creative questions. So ANCA, if your life story became a movie, what genre would it be and who would play you?
I love this question. It will definitely be a tragic comedy, because there, where I'm from, you always can only tell a story where you cry with the other eye which laughs. And I guess it would be Marion Cotillard. What about you?
Oh, yes. I want to try different genres. It's very interesting to try different genres. The last week, I'm thinking about musical.
Oh!
Yeah. But in general, of course, I want to explore more stories from my country, because it's really a lot of stories and a lot of very important questions regarding our history of Georgia. So, of course, my next film will be about my own country, but as much people, international production houses will be involved, it will be better, because it gives you more visibility. Of course, we have, all of us, we have a dream to work with some great actors. For example, my dream was to work with John Malkovich, and at some point I will reach this.
And who will,
You 100%.
Huh?
who will play you? For sure not John Malkovich. So
Me?
Yes.
Me?
Yes.
Oh, you.
I don't know, really. It's a question. I should think about it, but what do you think? Who?
Maybe John Malkovich.
Yes. I will be new John Malkovich.
I know.
Well, on that note, I think we can wrap this session, unless any last final parting words. But I think we're about time, and I really just want to thank everyone on the stage, Dr. Annabella, RUSUDAN, and ANCA. A really incredible way to kick off the day here in Cannes, and everyone enjoy the rest of the afternoon. We have a bunch of brilliant sessions ahead. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.